Let's inhale. Hold it a few seconds. And exhale. Yeah. Didn't that feel great? Oh yeah. It feels real good. I hope you did the breath work. If you didn't do the breath work, you know we will get another opportunity to do it at the end of the show. We do. It's Talk It Out Tuesday. We are on episode 118. Can you believe that? I can hardly believe it. I got to thank you guys for being in here with us. Today we're talking about emotional suppression. Unveiling the unspoken. Why is it that we keep our emotions hidden inside, or we're not able to express our true emotions, like what it is we're really feeling? You know, we'll put that smile on, we put that happy face on, and that's not really how we feel. That's not it. Have you ever wondered why some people find it difficult to open up and share their feelings? Why they may be compelled to hide them? I want us to be able to talk about that. We're going to talk about the potential consequences of holding those feelings in. Let's talk about some practical solutions, maybe some advice and some strategies that each of us have that we find a way to cope and find a way to express ourselves. Let's share that with each other. Let's do that. So that's what the conversation is about. We're going to get in here, and I think this is something good here. I think it's a good conversation. How are you doing, Tori?
I am great. It's Talking Out Tuesday already.
It's Talking Out.
Listen, I gotta say this. Last week, kudos, salute MsTonya. Last week, I was like, Tonya, can I take a break? So she's like, I respect that. So that's why y'all didn't see us last week, because I just needed a break. But let me do this, Tonya, before we get started.
Okay.
There are a few people that are celebrating a birthday today.
All right, we're gonna do some birthday love.
Yes, we're gonna do some birthday love.
Okay.
Let me make sure my glasses straight. Our boy William Stokes, we call him Cash. His birthday is today. Yolanda Self is celebrating a birthday today. My twin brothers, Eric and Derek Bell, they're celebrating a birthday today. Moretta Richardson is celebrating a birthday today. And I gotta show love to my baby Logan. He's 8 months old on today. So that's what's up. Happy birthday, y'all.
All right. Happy birthday to you. And don't have me singing no more than that, all right? Mad love. And I didn't know it was Cash's birthday today.
Yes, it's Cash's
That's what's
birthday.
up.
Yeah.
All right.
So you got to do the new version. You got to do the new version, the new birthday song. It is I want to say happy birthday to you. I want to say happy birthday to you.
I don't know that.
Close your eyes.
Never heard it, but I like it. Happy birthday to... Listen, I never heard that. So where do we get that from? Where did that come from?
Listen, that remix I heard that remix on TikTok, and now it's like floating around social media. Yeah. That's the new. Yeah, that's that new version of Happy Birthday for us, because we're gonna put a spin on something.
Listen, I didn't know. Nobody told me. I wasn't invited to the party. You understand me? I see we got some people in the building with us already.
What's up, for team? He said, good afternoon, Tori and MsTonya. What's up, for team? How you doing, brother?
How are you? All right. We got people in here giving out the birthday love, telling everybody happy birthday. How you doing, lady?
What's up, Desire Cartel?
All right.
And for team said, good afternoon. What up?
Hey, lady. How you doing? Well, Tori, listen. We got a conversation here today, and you shared with everybody that last week, you weren't feeling it. I was like, hey, take that day. We have to be able to do that for ourselves, right? And although you did that, right, I didn't necessarily know why. I didn't ask you why. You didn't give up why you felt that way. But I will say this. I think it ties just a little bit into what we're kind of talking about today about how people may not express their feelings all the time or might not let people know what's going on with them. And there's different reasons and seasons for that. So that's kind of what we're talking about, you know, not in that detail, but you dig what I'm saying?
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah.
Just
Um,
sometimes you just need that self-care day
you
to just
do.
turn off all the noise and just meditate. That's what I
Yeah,
needed last Tuesday. So,
I
but I
agree.
appreciate you for respecting that.
Of course. Okay. It's Talk It Out Tuesday with Tori and MsTonya. And if Tori said, hey, let's take a day, we taking a day. All right, go ahead and get that verse out to the people. Go ahead and let them know.
The verse for today comes from Ecclesiastics chapter 3, verse 1. There's a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. Let me read that again. There is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. Let that
You're right.
marinate.
You got to. I mean, when you think about that, um, things are going to happen in life. There's going to be different circumstances, but there will be change, right? And so
Right.
you've got to know that, and you've got to know that there's going to be change. You expect that as well. So those things that we're going through, you've got to have that faith and say, okay, well, there's a lesson somewhere in here. There's a bigger purpose somewhere in here. And I just got to hold on to my faith, and I just got to do whatever I got to do to make sure that I can break through and come on the other side of this, you know? That's how I take that. I don't know what, everybody's going to
Absolutely.
have their interpretation. And also as well, I know that I'm, because I made a post very similar to this as well. And I just said nobody wants to hear this, but somebody is failing right now real bad. Nothing is going your way, and I just want to say congratulations, because these are lessons you can take to build strength. Life involves pain, and success awaits you on the other side of these troubled times, you know? And that might be something that people might not want to hear, but we have to be honest about it. That's something that actually happens. You've got to know there are going to be times like that, right? I see you all mute. I see
Tanya,
you muted. What's up?
listen, for some reason on my end it's dragging. So let
Mm-hmm.
me reboot my internet for a second. Just take me out for a second because I got to
Oh,
reboot my internet because it's you like sounding like a robot.
I hope it's not like that. Really, I'll check on my end too. Go ahead. And sometimes we have these technical difficulties. I don't know. I'm trying some new things on my side as well, so it very much could be me. So if you guys, why don't you guys who are joining us right now, let me know how the audio sounds. Are we coming through well? Can you hear me? Let me know what you're hearing. Let me know if you're hearing some interference, whatever that might be. Okay, I see you in here, bro. You said, we hear you ladies fine, no delay. Okay, great, 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 great. Good to know that. Not sure. Listen, when you're in these internet streets, you never know what might happen. You never really know. And that's just a part of it. Well, Tori, are you back with me? She looked like she's frozen in there. Just let me know when you're back up, Tori, and we'll get into it. I'll just go ahead and get a little bit into the conversation with you guys. Let me ask you, have you ever wondered why some people find it difficult to open up? Have you yourself experienced that? You find it a little difficult to share your feelings? Because everyone people don't just do that. You know what I mean? And if you've struggled yourself, I feel like this is a conversation that we're going to have here today that just might make you look at it a little different. I hope that it does, because that's what we want to do here. Talk It Out Tuesday, we do a number of things. Sometimes we have very light conversations. We have fun. We're laughing. And sometimes we dig in a little deeper, but it's a chat. And it's not just Tori and myself, it's also you. So whatever you communicate with us in the comments and within the chat, that's what makes a whole conversation for us. Tori, are you back in here with me?
Yes.
All right.
Okay, we're gonna try this. You asked the question, why do sometimes people bottle up their feelings? And I'm gonna answer that question for Tori.
Okay.
The reason that I do it a lot now, especially lately, is that I see that there are those that they may be smiling on the outer side, but they don't genuinely have my best interest at heart. And then there are times where I've expressed to people, well, what you said or what you did made me feel a certain way. And they said, okay, but they did it again. So now, not only do I take a mental note, I check that off. I observe more now. I don't say a lot, and you got to be really close to me for me to express certain things. Some people I will never ever say anything to ever again. I'll talk to you and I'll listen to you, but there's some people that I'm never going to express how I feel, because they showed me that they really didn't care.
Ooh. Wow. I tell you, the comments are coming in as well. If you want to go ahead and read some of those.
Brother Fatine says, we as humans, we build walls because at times we don't want to deal with the pain that we may be experiencing. Absolutely that too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that.
And Desire says, yes, it's hard for me to express.
It is. And, although we didn't necessarily talk, like verbally talk this, I know we were having like a text communication. And I was saying to you that I feel like we as Black women kind of do this a whole lot. And I can only come from my experience because I am a Black woman. But I know oftentimes we hold a lot of different things in. We don't really let people know what we're going through because we always have to, we're expected to get what we need to get done. We're thinking about more than ourselves. We're always putting someone else in front of us, whether it's our kids, our mate, or anyone in your family. We put people ahead of our own feelings and emotions, and we just stuff that down, and we're there for them. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to figure out, why are we doing that? Can we give ourselves permission to take care of ourselves and be honest about our feelings, just like how you were honest with me last week, and you was like, you know what? I got to take this day for myself. I didn't need the details, and you don't always have to give the details, but it is important to, express that feeling, because if you wanted to, it would have been very easy to just push on through and let's talk about what we got to talk about. We're on here an hour and the typical thing that we would do.
Right.
And you didn't do that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And Jasmine said, side note, Logan is here. Like, hey, Logan.
How you doing, man? All right. But we do that. We hold all of that stuff in because society expects us to pull through. Now, what do you think that's like for men? Like, there's a difference between men and women. I was looking up. Let me see if I can find it.
Listen, it's hard for men to open up.
It is. It can be, but I also think sometimes it's easier for them to kind of express their emotion. Like if they're upset about something, they're clearly going to let you know that they're upset about it. They do that sometimes. And I was reading something here. Let me pull it up. Let me share. I want to share this tab, so let me bring it in here. Oh, right. So let's read this here. I'm going to read this here and talk about this. It says psychologically, it seems that men and women differ in the way they process and express emotions. With the exception of anger, women experience emotions more intensely, and this is according to this article, and share their emotions more openly with others. And the conversation that we're having, we're saying that a lot of times, and especially for us as Black women, that doesn't happen as often. But there have been some studies that show that women have expressed their pro-social emotions, such as gratitude, which is linked to greater happiness. Okay, now as we go through this article a little bit, what kind of really struck me is when it comes to anger. And it says, however, within these studies lies a significant blind spot, which is that women often do feel anger as intensely as men, but do not express it openly, and it is not viewed as socially acceptable. That I want to stop right there, right? And the reason why I want to start right there is because that kind of, as I was reading the article, some things I agree with and some of them I didn't. But that I agree with because a lot of times we do not express how we're upset about stuff. Why do you think that is?
I can only answer. Listen, for me personally,
Yeah.
that hit the nail for me because that is that like I could be angry with you and you'll never know it because I'm gonna still be smiling. But in my head, mentally, I'm having a funeral for you in my head. Like literally, that I was like, when you was reading, I was like, oh my God. I'm still gonna talk to you. I'm still gonna be cordial, but literally in my head, I'm just like, would they please get out my face?
But but guess what? That's a part of suppressing your true emotions, and that's really not good. And that's what we're talking about here. And I personally think that we do that just like the article, led to a little bit. It's not societally acceptable, socially acceptable. And I know for us, or for me, how I grew up, and I know you're going to relate to this too. But you're always taught to be nice. You're taught to be a good girl. So a good girl doesn't get upset. A good girl don't get angry. We don't do all of those things. So if you're taught that growing up and you think that you have to be nice, you have to be polite. And so we're taught to be polite to people who are not even polite to us. People who are not showing us genuine love. And that really includes family members. And it's a setup. And so when we learn that from young and we take that right on through our life, we get up, like if someone, we don't know how to express ourselves in our workplace, because you got to be polite. Now, I know that there's a structure involved, and there's a time and place for everything. But you can feel something and you can express it in a respectful way, because someone could say something to you or do something to you and you could say, I would just like for us to talk about this a little bit differently. I feel a little bit offended by this, and we can talk about it at another time. We're at work, but, I might have something that you may be involved in doing something at a time, but we have to find ways to communicate that. And we don't do it because we're taught to be a good girl. So you could be upset about something and you just got that big smile on your face.
Right, right.
That's
But
harmful.
but here is something else too for me personally, spiritually. There's some things that used to bother me before that now I'm unbothered by. So spiritually, the faith that I have, sometimes you have to be slow to anger. Now, a lot of times when I get angry, it's because, like you said, I suppress so much to the point where I'm about to explode. I've suppressed it so long that I explode. But like I said, there's some things that used to bother me that I'm just unbothered by, because sometimes you have to realize that just when it comes to people, sometimes you just realize that's just who that person is. And sometimes
Yeah.
people will allow a spirit to control them. And I've learned that I can be looking at a person that's talking, they're speaking, and I could tell they're being controlled by a particular spirit. That's how I see
Whoa.
it. And I just be like, okay, that's and some people, I take it a step further. I just pray for them. Some people just need prayer.
You're right. You're
Yeah,
right.
people need
But
prayer.
even in recognizing that, because and that's a thing that we do, particularly as women. Like you say, you can recognize that this person is not operating in a good spirit. They're not being good, but you went all the way there to analyze that person and their emotional state and where they are, and you're not being true to yours. When you could, instead of going all the way there, you could just say, hey, I really don't like this. I don't like where we are right now. How can we get through this? Can we talk about this, or do we need to step back and come back again and talk about this? We need to be able to do that. People, especially women, they just have a mixed way of communicating.
Oh my God.
Somebody piss you off, and you just, you don't have to smile. Let that
Right.
be known.
And then, let me read this comment first. Brother Fatine says, as a male Black man, we are expected to man up, which causes us at times to suppress our emotions and feelings because it's not the manly thing to do. Woo! That part.
Right.
That part.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to think, what was I going to say before we read? I know what I was going to say. Sometimes people will create scenarios in their head that don't even exist. Like, there was a person that came to me and they thought I had an issue with them. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm not even thinking about you, but you came to me thinking that I had an issue. But like I said, a lot of times I may not say nothing. Sometimes I just observe it. Sometimes I have those days where I just don't feel like talking, but don't feel like I got an issue with you. But you come to me like, what's the problem? And I'm looking at them like, what are you talking about? I'm
Right.
like, you're the last thing on my mind right now. And people have to realize that life be life. And as you know, the term people use, life be life. And sometimes I'm just in my thoughts and I'm just
Right.
not even, you're not even thought in my head. But some people like, you got an issue? I'm like, what?
You're
So it's
right.
funny.
And they're transferring their feelings onto you. And that happens a lot.
Right. And Miss Dorita says, what's up, cousin? Says, strolling through Facebook. And who do I see? Love you, fan. Love you, Dorita. Thank you for tuning in. And Desire says, we as Black women molded by the Black woman that raised us, their actions of strength and the expectation that they have for us growing women makes it hard to open up. You think twice about, should I say this or should this even bother me? Whew, that part. I know I before I speak a lot of times, one of my things that I do when I'm constantly thinking, should I say something? I'm like, well, my big thing is, will this person receive it? But sometimes you have to tell people, express how you feel, whether they receive it or not. You've released it instead of holding on to it. And see, that's what I'm guilty of a lot. I'm like, well, this person receive what I'm saying. So I've kept my peace for a lot because I'm too worried about whether the person will receive it.
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to get us to get away from, because we don't have to do that. It's okay to be upset, because if a person is upsetting you, right? I feel like it's okay to let them know. That doesn't, like, once again, and how you express that is going to be, up to you. Every situation is going to be different. But what struck me with Desire's comment here, and let me put it back up here a minute. The part she said where you think twice about, should I say this, or should I even let it, or should this even bother me? Mm-hmm. The fact that we are questioning ourselves about something that is clearly bothering us is already a problem. We should be able to, healthfully, there's a healthy way to express our emotions. And you've got to find that, you've got to find that way to do that. I don't like that we do that. And I know we do that a lot.
I know I do that. Landon says, fist up.
All right. How you doing, Landon?
And Desire says, we are traumatized by the women that raised us. All the expectations placed upon us. Be seen, not heard. Woo!
Girl. She's right. She's absolutely right. So I feel like Let's start breaking that cycle. What are some things? How do we begin to break this stigma? What are some of the things we do? Because I feel like what we're doing, talking about it, is one thing that we can do. And that's why I wanted to open this conversation up. I feel like if you can at least acknowledge it and know that this happens and know that, hey, it's not just me. I'm not the only one. Look at MsTonya up here feeling the same way. Look at Tori feeling the same way. Look at people in the comments feeling the same way. Why have we been doing this to ourselves? Right. You know? And I got to stop.
Miss Pamela says, what's up, Pam? Pam says, I grew up like that, but I'm not like that now.
Okay.
And listen, and ain't. Desire says, a lot of our fuel behind anger comes from childhood trauma.
Absolutely. And we've got to work. We've got to work on that. And, you know, our self-care practices are going to be some of the things that are going to help us. You got to explore some things that are going to, let's see, like your journaling. Journal, right. People tell you that, and I don't know what that sounds like, and we've been hearing a lot of it lately because there's just a lot of people who are beginning to respect and understand that self-care is really important. Meditation, those are some healthcare practices that we can use. Mm-hmm. But just be honest. Be honest with yourself in that moment, and be honest with that person in that moment. It's okay. And if you say something that is out of pocket, I think that, you know, you have the opportunity to go back and think about that, and you can apologize if an apology is necessary. But get that thing out.
Right. And I'm glad. And Wendell, what's up, Wendell? He says, loving y'all show today, sis. Thank you, Wendell. And I'm glad you said, when you spoke about apology, the thought that came in my head when you said apology, sometimes we have to be okay with the apology that we never receive.
Ooh.
You deserve apology, but we got to be okay, because some people just their pride is not going to let them apologize. Some people, no. and you know what really annoys me and a pet peeve, mm-hmm. People can know they did you wrong. They refuse. Not only do they refuse to apologize, but then they act like it never happened. They want you to go back to how it was, mm-hmm. when they never apologized.
Wow. And see, and that's just poor communication skills. And then some people just have poor ethics. You know, they really do. But I feel like we can work on our communication skills, be willing to open up, be willing to share, and just trust yourself. Trust your gut feeling. This is how I feel. Trust that. If the person in front of you is not able to deal with how you're really feeling, then I feel like that's telling you a whole lot about that person too. And that's telling you a lot about that particular relationship. And maybe it would be good for you to go ahead and express that. Because some of the same people who go very far with us and they abuse our time, they abuse our ear, they lay everything on you, they put all of their stuff on you, they dump it on you. Because they know they can. So it's up to you to express like, hey, I can't deal with this today. Or I'm not in a space or place that I want to deal with this right now. You owe yourself that.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. I see the comments steady going. Where we at in here?
Mr. Sammy Davis, timestamp is 12:26.
Okay.
And Mr. Sammy says, when people don't understand you, they form their own opinions of you. And most of the time, that opinion will be negative. Listen.
Sammy. You done said something.
I'm trying to tell you. I felt that in my soul.
Right. And that's the thing. And when that person represents themselves and represents themselves in that way, then you got to know, hey, you better say what you need to say and don't hold that inside of you. Don't hold that in. That's messing you up. Don't do it.
And Mr. Ritter says, no problem. We need to support each other. Y'all podcast is interesting, dealing with everyday life. Years ago, we couldn't express our feelings. We were told to be quiet.
Exactly. Exactly. Had to bottle that up. So we don't even know how to react to things. Like, we don't even know how to be happy when it's time to be happy. We don't know how it is to be sad when we really should be sad. Like, something good could be going on and you crying. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, we're so messed up now until we really don't know which emotion to attach to how we're feeling. Like, somebody could say something to you and upset you, and you don't even really know why you're upset. You need to be able to identify why you're upset. Like, why are you upset? Like, you feel it. But if you don't ask yourself or give yourself that permission to first feel upset, you won't be able to know why, because you're not even going to get to questioning that. But they could have said something that made you feel like they didn't respect you. Like, they could have done something where you feel like, okay, they've taken advantage of you, and you're angry, and you don't know why you're angry because you're not expressing your feelings. So that's what I want us to get to. And I don't think that that's an easy thing, but I feel like one of the first ways to learning to deal with it is be honest. Know that this happens, and be honest with yourself, and be honest in the situation, you know?
We have Brother Fatine. Brother Fatine says, learn conflict resolution techniques, which give us tools on how to communicate with one another when we are discussing emotional issues amongst one another.
Yeah.
Whew, I'm still in the process of learning some techniques myself.
Yeah, because see, we're not used to doing it. We're not used to doing it. And again, that's why I feel like conversations are important. And the conversation that we have here, where we're talking things out, the reason why I think that's important too is because we hear people talking about, you might need some therapy or go get therapy. Well, everybody's not going to be able to get therapy. Let's just be honest about that. Now, if you can, that's great. But everybody's insurance doesn't cover it. Everybody can't afford it. And just because you can't get that type of help, which is a professional help, where you've got someone that you're professionally talking to who is coming from a non-judgmental point of view, it sometimes can make it easier. But I think you get the idea that it's about communication. You got to talk. You got to express yourself. Stop holding that stuff in. That is what's driving you crazy, because it's recycling over and over and over in your mind. Let it go. You got to let that out.
Right. Genesis says, we are programmed to be strong women, strong mother, strong sister, strong wife. We as Black women carry families on our back. But part of strong and growing is starting to say no. And I'm not going to break the cycle of being too available. If the unavailable time, we nurture our souls, mind, and body. Allow yourself time for you to reset and restore. And I'm glad she said that, because I just was saying that I just told someone just this morning that I cannot allow everyone to have access to me. I do whatever is necessary to protect my peace, because I was one of those people that I was guilty of allowing people to dump on me. But those same people I allowed to dump on me, I wasn't able to talk to them. It wasn't being reciprocated. So I have to be mindful who I allow to have access to me. Everybody does not deserve to have access to me. And I had to set up some necessary boundaries. Boundaries are necessary. No is a complete sentence without an explanation. If I say no, I ain't got to tell you why I say no. The answer is just no. I can't do it. End of story, point blank, period.
Yeah, and you said that, but that's not an easy place to get to, and it certainly hadn't been an easy thing to do. But I'm happy to hear you say that. What I want to know is, I typed up a few questions that I wanted to ask people. What are some situations or environments where you feel the most comfortable expressing your feelings, because I think that has a lot to do with it. We're not doing it because we're not comfortable. So that question is like, what environment, does it have to be a particular environment to make you feel comfortable for expressing that? Or do we need to get past that too?
For me, it's not necessarily the environment. Is for me, is how I feel when I'm in your presence. Like, for example, there are some things and sometimes that you can be invited. When it comes to environment, you can be invited, but the reality is, are you really welcome? So you can be invited to something, but you ain't really welcome. So even though you may not go, even though you was invited, they're glad you didn't show up.
Woo. Whoa. You know, you done said something. You done said a whole lot. Okay, Sammy said, wow, what a show today.
Window.
I'm sorry, window. Sammy's right up under here. He says, hurt people. Yes. All right, go ahead and read your boy, because you know that's your boy right there.
What up, Am says, I'm going to continue sipping my tea because y'all on point today.
All right. Listen, it's a truth. We just gotta be honest with ourselves. I think we're only going to make those relationships better with the people around us if we're able to express how we're feeling and how they're making us feel. Because the same way that we don't necessarily know how to express our feelings properly, they probably are living through those same circumstances. So somebody's got to say something, and the conversation needs to be started.
Right.
You know?
Right.
It does.
And Cynthia, I was looking at another comment. Desire says, communication has been belittled in our community. In a Black household, even as children, you will get popped in the mouth for expressing or trying to communicate your feelings. Seems as if communication is a joke. Now going forth, we are broken adults, men and women. We can't communicate without anger or the fight of being. I'm glad you say that, because that's one of the things that I do as a parent. I encourage my son to express himself. I encourage him to cry when he needs to, because there was a situation, he lost a family member, and I know he wanted to cry, or he felt compared. He said, "No, I can't cry because I've been taught, the little boy and as a male, you can't." I said, "Son, you can't." He said, "Ma, I can't." I said, "Well, look, I'm telling you, it's okay. That doesn't make you soft or anything if you decide to cry." Because you're the same thing I was trying to tell him. You're suppressing your feelings. You're suppressing how you feel.
And you know what? Our community does that to our little Black boys. We do that to them, and it is horrible. And I have to agree with you too. It's important to let them know that if you feel sad and you want to cry, you express that, because that is not, what I want to say here. That doesn't devalue your manhood. It doesn't. You got to be a whole person. A whole person has to be able to express themselves. You're going to feel joy. You're going to feel pain. You're going to be happy. You're going to be sad. So you're supposed to express that. You cannot pretend to be happy when you're not. And that's what I want us to get away from. Like I said, we don't even know how to express ourselves. Something good is going on and we're crying. Something sad is going on. You ever know someone who, and I have a friend who did this, and I realized, I was like, wow, it just made me realize like how confused her emotions were, because it was a situation that wasn't good. It was a situation in which anger would have been a valid expression to express. And she just went into this rage of laughter. Have you ever experienced anything like that?
People that too. I'm like, what?
Like, what in the world? But that is a part of this. Mm-hmm. Not knowing how to express our feelings, because we bottle stuff in so much, like our emotions are confused. They're totally confused.
Right. I'm trying to see where we at in the comments. Genesis says, judge me by the people I avoid. Ooh.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Anthony says, Tom, you gonna get up off me though.
That's not what you want. That's not what you really want.
And Cynthia says, yes, so glad my kids are teaching their sons to be emotionally expressive. Yes.
It's important.
Mm-hmm.
You want to deal with someone who is being a full person. If you can't be honest with yourself, I definitely know that you won't be able to be honest with me. If you can't be true to your own feelings, I don't know that you can care for or protect mine.
Right. And Brother Fatine says, for me, environment equals atmosphere. I agree with Tori. It's the energy during the conversation. It definitely should be in more personal or private settings, which allows each person to be themselves instead of being around others and possibly being influenced by those in that environment. And that last part, I had a conversation with someone. That last part that he said, you ever notice how when you are in a person's presence, okay, say it's just me and that another person in that, we're talking. But when somebody else is around, they're different when other people are around.
Mm-hmm.
That bothers me. I'm going to be the same Tory regardless of who's around. But there are some people, they're going to change how they respond or react to you based on who's around. And
Wow.
it shouldn't be that. And it shouldn't be that way.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what I took from that. I took from that where he says, instead of being around others and possibly being influenced by those in that environment, I agree with what you said, but I also take from that that there's a time and a place for everything.
Absolutely.
So while, and it also depends on the dynamic of the relationship to how I'm going to deal with that. So if it is a relationship that I feel like I know I'm upset and I'm getting ready to let you know that I'm upset, but I also will let you know based upon the respect that I have for myself and for you that we're going to talk about this later. Wait till we get home. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because when it comes to relationships, what you just said, if I'm in a relationship with someone and I'm mad at you, trust me. Oh, we lovey-dovey in public, but when we get to the house, oh, I'm going in. I'm going in. I'm not going to embarrass you publicly, but trust me.
Right. Now, see, you went a little too far. You said we're going to be lovey-dovey. I'm going to be respectful. But you gonna know I'm pissed off. Now everybody else won't know, but you gonna know. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that because I feel like that is being true to the relationship. Right. Because something is going on, something is out of pocket, and that's a way of telling someone, hey, you might be going a little too far with something, and I want that too. Mm-hmm. I want that too. I feel like our relationships overall, romantic relationships, all types of relationships are going to be better if we're willing to be emotionally honest with each other. Right. This is how you're making me feel. I am not going to embarrass you. This is not the time and place for this. However, because when we get home, so it's going to be that eye communication. Hey, girl, how you doing? And I'm getting ready to talk to somebody else. Now, when we get in that car, I don't know who driving, but we gonna have a conversation. and I think that's fair. I think that's fair. And guess what? And that doesn't even mean that I am right, Because guess what? I could have misunderstood something. I could have took something wrong. I personally could have taken something far, but I am going to give us that opportunity to have that conversation. But I'm also going to allow you to know, like, hey, this is how I feel. I'm going to do it in a respectful way, given the environment. So that's what I took from the brother's comment there.
Okay. And then Dorita says, holding your feelings in can cause depression. Absolutely.
Absolutely. I agree with you there.
Absolutely. And Cynthia says, right, Tonya, I'm going to pinch him.
Right. If hey, I'm gonna give you either them death ray eyes or something. I like that pinch. I like the pinch. The pinch works too.
And there's Maya says, great topic today. I totally agree on there's a place and time for everything. It's called emotional intelligence. That part. Yeah.
And you know what? You gave us the intelligent way to express our conversation here today. Right. We are discussing emotional intelligence because we are confused. We've been raised and we've been so used to not expressing ourselves, holding things in, bottling it in. Things are going on with people. People are like, you can some of your friends could be out. You're in an environment. They're looking happy. Everything looks good. And then they're holding so much inside and you have no idea. Now, I'm not out here like I'm not Miss Cleo. I don't predict no futures. I can't tell you what you're feeling. I'm going on what you're expressing. So if someone is expressing a happiness or fronting a happiness, I don't think you're being a good friend to me if you're making me translate what you're presenting. Talk to me. Tell me what you're going through. I mean, like I say, how is a person supposed to know? You out here just jolly happy and with everybody and I'm seeing you. I don't know. So I just think it's wrong all the way around. It's not right to do it to ourselves. Mm-hmm. But I also think that it's not being a good friend, especially if you're a good friend with someone and you're not expressing that. And so you're going through things or whatever it may be, and you're trying to handle that on your own. And there might be there might be that ear for you, or there might, help comes in so many different ways. It just depends on whatever the particular situation is. But, I like that, Manya. We've got to express and know how to deal with emotional intelligence. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. She said something here too. She said, or better yet, emotional control. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There's something to that. You've got to know how to control your emotions.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Control those. Absolutely. And not let yours be controlled. Mm-hmm. Right?
What's up, Adrian? Adrian says, because some people's EQ, the bar is low.
It is. It really is.
And Adrian says, a lot of people are horrible at conflict resolution. We're adults. Have the conversation. And I'm glad she said that, horrible at conflict resolution. Mm-hmm. Because for me, I pay attention to how people deal with conflict. I pay attention to how people deal with disappointment. And I pay attention to how people deal with success.
Exactly. I like what you said there. I'm gonna skip a couple comments and go to this one. We'll go back.
And Adrian says thermostat, not a thermometer.
There's a difference.
Yes, yeah. A big difference.
Look that up if you don't know.
Yes.
You got to do some of your home. Yeah, a thermostat. You got to control that thing. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And Brother Fadine says, question, I agree that a person shouldn't bottle things up and express themselves, but what if they are not a good communicator and their expression becomes verbal abuse? Ooh, that's good.
Well, that's why conversation is a two-way street, because the person on the other side of that is going to have to express that, like, hey, I understand that you feel this way right now, but I don't like the way you're talking to me. Is there a better way that we can express that? So it goes both ways, because you can't set yourself up to be abused verbally, and you certainly shouldn't abuse someone verbally, you know? So
Right.
I totally understand that. Well, Tori,
There's a
we
comment. Go back to this comment. 1241 stamp. I think that was really good.
1241. Okay.
Yeah, I thought that was
Anthony?
really good. Yeah, I thought that was real good. He said, "Why have tears if you can't let them out?"
Ooh. Wow. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I agree with that. 1,000%. You know? Why? You're supposed to cry. That's what we have those for. Thanks for that comment, man.
Yeah, that
Thanks for
was
that comment.
good. That was
Yeah.
real good.
And particularly as it relates to men. That does not make you weak. I think the strongest man is able to express his true feelings. You know? I
Right.
really do.
Right.
Tori, what I wanted to tell you is that I enjoy this conversation, and maybe we can continue this conversation at another time. But I have a meeting today at 1 o'clock, so I'm going to have to dip out a little bit early. So what I want to do is ask you to kind of wrap up how you felt about the conversation, and then we'll do a little bit of breath work and get out of here. But I want to thank everybody who has joined us in the comments, because everything that they have shared with us, those are things and tips that we need, and I think that they can help somebody.
Well, to wrap it up from my perspective, I encourage you to express how you feel. Do not bottle it because it causes illness. I know firsthand that it does. And Brother Fatin says, great show and topic list. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to everyone for tuning in. And we'll be back at it next Tuesday. And remember, express yourself. Don't hold it in. Let it out.
All right. Always good to have a conversation with you, lady. I'll holler at you a little bit later this afternoon. How about that?
All right. Peace out, y'all.
All right. All right, guys. That's what it is. We've got to be able to express ourselves. I like the conversation. And if you guys feel like, we could expound on this conversation or take it in a slightly different direction, we always go back and we go through the comments, and you guys can like and share this. Do that. Like, share, let somebody know. There might be somebody who needs to hear this and have this conversation. So do that. All right. Now, before we get out of here, you know what I always do? We breathe in when we come in and we breathe when we go out. And that's important. That's important for our self-care. So take this serious. Take this moment for you. Don't cheat. Don't say, okay, they finished talking. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and click off. Take this breath work with us. All right. And y'all make sure you have the best day that you can have. And if you're not having the best day, express that and let somebody know. Let's do some breath work. Inhale to the count of 4. Hold that a few seconds. Exhale. Hold that a few seconds. Inhale again. Hold a few seconds. Exhale. And hold that a few seconds. Inhale one more time. Hold a few seconds. And exhale. Yeah. And don't you feel great? I feel great. I appreciate you guys. And if nobody gave you a smile today, if nobody smiled today, you just close your eyes and give yourself a big smile and see how that feels for you. All right? Y'all be great out here. That's what we do. One love, y'all.